belly of the beast and learning how the Constitution and how policy is created that is not the most beneficial for people who look like me and us.
Hey y'all, welcome to RVPP Solutions. I'm Myra. I am a holistic health advocate. I have created a holistic health advocacy firm in the city of Chicago, and I'm hoping to spread the idea and the mentality of holistic health advocacy across the globe. But as my Facebook page say, heal the world, but start with the hood, right? Okay. So, today I'm going to be talking about restorative justice, or I like to call it just justice, in criminal justice, and why I decided to move towards the idea. I don't know, talk to plants. Let's let it go. I bought a mic and totally didn't bring it, and I'm so not disappointed. Just I'll do better next time. This is just gonna get better and 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 better. Oh, while we're here, so let me get back to what I was saying. I got some really good advice, like stay on subject, but it's not how I roll. I'm gonna try my best though. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about restorative justice, criminal justice, why I think it is best that we move more as a collective towards the justice system. Criminal justice kind of is a dying institution, and it has created so much harm that it's not working. More than multiple, multiple studies and data that proves that it. Um, what else? What else? What else? You here? Why you here? Can you like? Can you like subscribe? Can you give me some energy? Cause I appreciate it. I promise you I do. Um, Comments. Engage in the conversation. Let me know these conversational pieces that I'm throwing out, these thought pieces that I'm throwing out. You talking to your family about it. You talking to your spouse about it. You talking to any and everyone, your coworker. Because my goal is for the seeds of what goes on in my mind to spread. Because I think that holistic health advocacy is so beneficial to us and getting out of the toxic American individualistic mindset that is not only have poisoned people who reside on this geographical land, but the globe. And it is what it is. It's not to demonize or villainize American society. I see now that it's an experience that humans decide to go through, and it's not just Americans, humans. We decide to go through this thing. So how the fuck do we crawl up out of this? How do we crawl up out of this to get into a space of abundance for ourselves? To get into a space of more peace for ourselves? To get into a space of days of joy, less trauma, safety for ourselves, our family, and our children. And for people who don't desire that type of reality, to find their people and like stay over there with them. Like let's not. We shouldn't have to. What's the word? You ain't gotta fuck with me. I ain't gotta fuck with you, and we ain't gotta hurt each other. So everybody that wants to stay in those mentalities, and I am saying in a very arrogant, judgment way because it's not something I desire. But if you do desire that, I think you have a right to that. But I also think there should be a space designated for you if you really want it. If you really want it like that, right? Because if you never had the option of anything else, how would you know? How would you know? That's what I'm here for. So let's start with some literature. I am very, 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 very adamant at this point in my life. I'll when it comes to reading, most of my literature will be Black women. Most of my literature will be Black people, melanated people. I am tapping back into opening my mind for literature that it has been drafted by people who identify of different racial groups, because I'm literally working on taking the social construct out of my mind, because it has become too toxic. And yeah, so right now it's not just primary Black women, but all literature from Black people. I read it for myself. I read it for myself. I will read it for myself. So when I first was introduced into restorative justice, I was in the critical race theory class. And little thing about law school. In law school, you come in with the idea of, it's not like undergrad where, and I'm pretty sure like any other master or doctorate program, they're like, this is a structure. We suggest this for you. But they suggestion, not really a suggestion. It's like, this is the only way you're gonna be successful in the legal field. So in passing that bar, right? You can't pass the bar if you don't take civil law. You can't pass the bar if you don't take constitutional law. You can't pass the bar if you don't take legal writing. Here's the problem with that. Most of that literature, most of that doctrine, most of the theories are predominantly white male, oppressive as white men. And my issue with the American legal system, American law, is that all or near most decisions have been made off of precedence. And when I say that, what does that mean, Myra? That no matter, it does matter, but most of the time people are being trained in American law schools not to operate independent thought. They're just regurgitating, I think I said that right, or reframing or saying the same thing of those who decision makers who are making decisions based off of racist motives. That's why when someone tells me the court who has been deemed the Supreme Court, because even when you use the words, you have to be very tactful in decolonizing your mind. Because if you're a supreme being living in a human form, you are your Supreme Court. That entity outside of you is a group of community members have decided to tell us what our social contract is. And I can't rely on a social contract from 1770 motherfucking 6, i.e., the U.S. Constitution. I'm gonna say that again so it can hit you. I can't rely based off of how I show up on a social contract drafted in 1776 when in 16 something per Virginia law, the highly melanated woman, because we are melanated beings, but the highly melanated woman, at the result of her being raped and producing children from that rape, was a legal fiction constructed so that the children that were produced from her captivity, enslavement, and raping could not benefit financially as a her to the white male, less melanated man's estates. Even though the lands in which he originated from follow under fraternal order, not maternal. Even though maternal order is supposed to be first, per universal law, because you come through the womb, they did not respect it until they could use it in a way to manipulate it. And that's why I don't fuck with the criminal justice system as the gospel truth. You can't. You are highly melanated. You have to stop reciting things that are for your detriment. You have to stop reciting things that are for your detriment. This is just the way it's always been. No, it wasn't. Because before your captivity, you were not obliged to these laws. You didn't oblige to these laws. These laws weren't even thought about. They were drafted in order to preserve one's group's selfishness, toxic selfishness, one's group's preservation to life, who left a land full of trauma, full of war. Europe was not fucking paradise when people were coming to spaces of the continent of Africa. People that is now known as the continent of Africa. Europe was not a space of comfortability, love, and peace when they roamed into the continents of Asia, the continent of Australia, the continent of South America, the continent of North America. Europe has never had a moment of peace, prosperity, and happiness as a collective on a global level. Yet, everyone on this globe, through terrorism, let's not make it clear, through terrorism, have adapted to submit to the ideologies, the ideals, and the mentality of those who terrorize for material gains in order to feel complete in this human experience. All right, there we go. And I'm not going to just put that all on those who have descended from Europe. I think that was a human issue before they touch into you know what I'm saying? Like spiritually, things were opened up. And like I said, we decided to have this experience as humans. Now we are getting our way up out of that, and that's going to require some tapping into that ancient energy and also new innovative things. So before I go any further, I'll be talking. Let's get into Black women who create for restorative justice. Once again, just another form of justice. And it should be primary, not alternate. The Little Book of Race and Restorative Justice. Black Lives, Healing, and U.S. Social Transformation by Fania E. Davis. Fania is Angela Davis' sister. Ha ha! Little Land Strong, baby. If only. All right. Fania, in her chapter Ubuntu, the indigenous ethos of restorative justice, she speaks criminal justice sees crime as broken laws and justice as punishment. It intentionally pits two opposite parties against each other in a zero-sum battle to determine right and wrong, guilty and innocent, and winner and loser. Restorative justice sees crime as broken lives and justice as healing. There is no sides. Parties enter into the justice process together, focus on accountability and the common central question: how do we heal and transform relationships and structures in the wake of harm? Okay, let that sit with you for a second. How do we heal and transform relationships and structures in the wake of harm? This is what restorative justice asks of us. Whereas criminal justice states you have broken the law, there must be some punishment. You are right, this person is wrong. This person is right, you are wrong. And it pits parties against each other. Make it very clear that in the U.S. Criminal justice system, the states, a group of bodies of people, not the community, which is democracy, but more of a republic. It's supposed to be a what? Democracy. Back on subject. A group of people who have access to wealth and power and gatekeeping operate within the machine in the state, and they determine what the harm is, and they determine what the party is. The people, the parties, the group, the community members. Now let's go back because I want y'all to hear this. Have been directly harmed or indirectly harmed, who have felt the blow of whatever a person who deemed to have broken the law has done, don't have a say so in the decision making of what would be the remedy to resolve the harm. They don't have an outlet to speak out about the harm that has been caused to them. They don't even get an opportunity to have dialogue once the so-called alleged person who caused the harm is in their presence. There are a group of people outside of the issue who are making decisions based off of financial gain, material gain, access to have power over both of these parties, community members, and a lack of accountability once they make their decision maker, because it has been ruled through the foundation. This is what I'm saying. Through a foundation embedded in enslavement, kidnapping, torture, rape. I smile because I want you to understand the foundation of the American law, and the people who are making decisions are heavily influenced by that. This is why we keep reproducing silly shit. We keep going through trauma loops. This is what the U.S. criminal justice system does. People who are literally affected by it don't have a say so in it. For real, for real. Only if you can make it through the loops of the bar exam. And the bar exam is an evaluation to make sure that your indoctrination was successful, meaning you think like a white male, oppressive as white male. Make that very clear. Oppressive white male. Okay? It's called a cellular colonius. Colonius. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Cellular perspective. So you think in the same manner you're being trained in most American educational systems to think and produce the results of the very same people who colonize this geographical land. It doesn't matter your complexion, it doesn't matter how much melanation is in your skin, it doesn't matter your your experience if you take on your indoctrination through Western ideals embedded in colonization and imperialism and toxic capitalism. You're going to reproduce the same shit in which you were harmed from. Stockholm syndrome. Okay. All right, so Fania goes on to explain basically how restorative justice is broken down in three components. She says restorative justice seeks a healing of all versus a victory for one. She says this frequently occurs through a threefold collaborative and dialogical process. One is by storytelling and relationship building. Yeah, I know that's my idea right there. Storytelling and relationship building. This is also known as peace circling. Okay. Truth telling and accountability. We used to, man, I got a hole right there, 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 right there. The American dream is a motherfucking lie. But Americans so deep in the shit that we can't see this shit being an American nightmare. And baby, it's not just for people of high melanation. The motherfucking American dream ain't it don't work for people of less melanation either. But white Americans will make you think it do, don't they? So when I talk about the truth telling, we're at the end of June, which is Pride Month, right? So people have pride in their sexuality, but ain't no doctrine talking about sexual trauma. This supposed to be a month of everybody, but you know the people who are spearheading it are those who have had oppression because of their sexuality, and most of the time it's people who have who sexual orientation is homosexuality. Cool. But where's the real fucking healing happening? All right, body autonomy, you got that. But are we being responsible with our youth? Are you teaching people who practice bisexuality the importance of the womb and why vaginal sex and anal sex two totally different things? And let's have real conversations. Like, what does this have to do with restorative justice? Because at the end of the day, if you're still practicing in spaces of being taboo, you are harmful. It's not just when you take something out Walgreens. It's not just when you steal some money from someone. Everything has a connecting point. When you do qualitative and quantitative research, it's not always just about the numbers. The numbers is just a manifestation after what has happened spiritually. So if we're gonna talk about pride, let's talk about really getting people out of their sexual identity and toxicity. That yes, a lot of people and don't want to talk, well, everybody that is homosexual has not experienced incest or molestation, and you're absolutely correct. But a lot of people who are heterosexual and homosexual and whatever your orientation is have experienced sexual trauma. So if we're gonna have pride in our sexuality, let's talk about how do we get past the blockages of sexual trauma, rape, incest, molestation. It's not just let's stop trying to utilize freakiness as a value of someone's ability to be in a healthy relationship. Let's stop acting like people who are homosexual, bisexual, transgender are automatically vessels of healing simply because they've been through some shit. Because that would be absurd. That would be like saying every black person is here for healing when we know we got a lot of anti-black people in this society. That would be like saying every white person is operating in guilt tripping in their guilt trip. In their guilt trip. And it's really good white people. So why the fuck this system still in place? Let's stop acting like they're living in harmony and peace not at the expense of everybody else. So therefore, they really not living in harmony. They always got watching over their back. They always think someone's fit to get them. That they have a lot of generational trauma from inflicting trauma. You don't get to be in a healthy space if you literally have uh your papa and your grandma was watching somebody hang from the tree. You think that shit doesn't affect that child psychologically coming down the line? Come on now, we all fucked up out here. So, but I'll say her second part again about restorative justice, truth telling and accountability, truth telling and accountability. Because too often in America, a predator gets away with so much shit simply because they dress well. And when I say predator, I'm not just talking about sexuality. I'm talking about predator in all ways. Spiritual predators, people who acting as if they're your vessel or your source into God, knowing damn well that you are a direct source to the higher being. You don't need nobody to get there. You just need to focus on self. They ain't gonna teach you that though, because they need your energy in a toxic way. When actuality, we can be sharing energy in a healthy way. But that part right there, that truth telling and accountability, that one right there, that's a hit right there, baby. That's a hit right there, baby. Come on, hit. You hear me? That hit. Every time I read that one, I'm like, truth telling and accountability. I'm gonna forget. Okay. Sorry, I got stuck. Uh, so the third one is reparative actions, which is basically repairing. Um, we wouldn't have to do so much. I feel like in restore that last part, like when I look at that, is you see, I get excited because I feel like every day, because I always get told like you should just leave Chicago. It's like okay, cool. Once I leave Chicago, then what? Then what? Why do we? Why are we as Black people and melanated people? I don't. I'm because I'm getting back into the mode because that's getting into the mode. Why does that? We gotta break this spell of displacement. Like if someone is in good energy, then they just need to get away from the people whom they love in order for them to feel it. You gotta feel that pain. You gotta feel that hurt. It's like, can you feel that love? Can love heal you? Can stability heal you? Can solitude heal you? Can community heal you? Do you think that you're worthy enough to have that? So when we talk about the reparative action at the end, okay, once you repair, once you heal, don't go back and bop because you still in a toxic individualistic mindset. There's nothing wrong with being healthy. I mean selfish. But when you are truly selfish, you don't really come to hurt people. If you're operating in pain and selfishness, then that's when it comes. But if you're operating in selfishness with love, you have no need to somebody in order to feel good about yourself. So those are the three things that she said. Um, to add to that, there's so many gems in the ISIS papers, but if I was to say, we talking about um, emotional intelligence and analytical intelligence. Say that. I guess your logic in combination with your emotions. These two books together, baby. If you don't like to read black and white, audiobooks. Okay? Audiobooks. Just try. Just try. Because honestly, the American criminal justice system is a plague to the majority of people on this geographical land. It's a plague to majority of people on this geographical land. There are only a small group of people who are benefiting from it, and they not either. Because materially they are there, but spiritually they are depleted in the motherfucker. Okay, so and you can tell because if you gotta keep feeding yourself with people's energy, You ain't got it. You could have it. It's not that you can't get back to it. You can. So that's my spiel on restorative justice and criminal justice. Please have this conversation. Ask yourself this. Very simple. Ask yourself, and then go ask the people you love or the people you like, or just to start a conversation. Do you know what restorative justice is? Do you have and do you have spaces in your community available to administrate restorative justice with people whom look like you? I'll say this again. Do you know what restorative justice is? And do you have facilities, institutions, community buildings, community centers, in which you have access to utilize the restorative justice as another way to get justice in your community? Or are you only bound to the criminal justice system? How do you feel about that? I think it's some bullshit. Don't come for me to promote this idea of freedom, because I'm free. But when I step in my freedom, you tell me this the only way you can go. That's not free. That's you getting in my way. And you still think you got me captivated. And you don't. You still think that I'm enslaved to your reality. And I ain't. That's all I have for today. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. Also, I'm looking for people who who have ideas about conversation that we should be having, and it's on this in this realm, in this space, for other people. It doesn't necessarily always have to be um what's the word? I don't put a label on it. I talk about things I enjoy. I enjoy talking about this. I was about to say serious. It's not, this is it's serious to me, but it flows, so like it's a natural thing for me. I do get enjoyment out of challenging things that don't make fucking sense to me. I get a joy out of destroying shit that is dumb. I get a joy out of destroying conversations, ideologies, mentalities that I know is some bullshit. So this is fun to me. But if you have any questions or concerns or suggestions about things that you think will help us propel us into spaces of peace, they might say we can't have a utopia, but why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Yes, I cuss a lot. So if you got a problem with a grown 33-year-old woman cussing a little bit, baby, you might as well go on. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Go on about your business. Because I'm going to be here in full self-expression. She's here now. Insane. Y'all have a great day. Ashe.